Two dangerous street takeovers happened overnight, just miles and minutes apart. One of them was deadly.
Yeah.
The screeching sound of tires going round and round.
Another illegal street takeover, leaving 2 people dead.
Live and work in a Fort Worth neighborhood where a street takeover turned deadly.
Tires screech seconds before Anaheim police say an out-of-control driver spinning donuts in a Walmart parking lot hits a teen 15 miles away. A deadly scene during a street takeover in Costa Mesa. 19-year-old Preston Shea of Anaheim has been arrested for felony hit and run, reckless driving, and assault with a deadly weapon.
So here's the thing with this, right? Most of these car enthusiasts are teenagers. And we know that teenagers really don't have complete brain growth until around the age of 25. So 25 and under, you're dealing with a human being who has not really developed his intellect yet. And they do stupid things like this. But should we be sending children to prison? I don't know. Let's take a look at some more.
A new law starting January 1st to increase penalties for those in such reckless driving scenarios will help stop the drivers who do this sort of thing, going crazy on the streets without regard for human life.
Oh, the all-knowing reporter. This is not going to help stop street racing, donuts, street takeovers, none of it. What you will do is if you arrest these young kids and you put them inside of a juvenile detention center, they're not going to come out the same. They could be raped, they could be robbed, they could be made to be basically a jailhouse bitch. And how is that rehabilitation? I think there's got to be another way we can deal with this without locking kids up, because that's where you learn antisocial behavior. You learn how to fight, basically a university to learn more crimes. So we want to try to keep youthful offenders out of the penitentiary, whether it be a juvenile place or adult, because there's no upside if we put away juvenile, especially first or second offense, just doing something stupid. Let's go on. Cameron Heron and John Barano are both in prison. The case is here out of Tampa for a street racing crash that killed a mother and baby along Tampa's Bayshore Boulevard. This kid pleaded guilty to vehicular homicide. It was his Ford Mustang that hit Jessica and her baby as they crossed the street. In the 18 months after that crash, the wheels of justice moved slowly as attorneys argued over evidence. In December 2019, David pleaded with the judge. 3 years after the crash in May 2021, proceedings were finally done, and Heron, with an open plea, was sentenced to 24 years in prison. On whoever this guy's lawyer is a complete idiot, okay? Period. This kid was 17 years old when he was racing down a street here in Tampa, Bayshore Boulevard. Him and John were racing 2 different cars, and unfortunately, a mother pushed a stroller out into the crosswalk to cross the road, and these 2 really dummies couldn't react, hit the poor woman, killing both her and her child. It's a horrible thing, and I'm not making excuses for anybody, okay? But sometimes, just sometimes, kids and teenagers make a mistake. These kids didn't go out there that day with the intent of killing someone. They're just dumb teenagers. They wanted to have a race, right? They're privileged. They got these badass cars. They want to show off. And this tragic incident happened. However, are they really criminals you want to lock up for decades and decades? Or are these kids who need some help? Maybe you put them in a sheriff's work farm for a couple of years and you try to rehabilitate them. I know that sucks because people died, but you can't just throw away everybody based on emotion. During sentencing, they argued that he just made a bad mistake. Look, 70 to 162 miles. And on this particular case, 102 miles per hour. The judge wasn't having it, though. He said Heron was 18 at the time of the crash, and he said that Heron was responsible for his actions, which did kill the mother and her child. Jessica's widower reminded the court of his lifetime sentence of anguish and heartbreak.
Dare I request a chance to live out your dreams when you eliminated all of mine?
This is a particularly difficult case because there's really nothing that the court can do that's capable of fixing the harm that has been caused to the victims in this case. On count 1, vehicular homicide, court's going to adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence him to 9 years in Florida State Prison. On count 2, same charge, Court will adjudicate the defendant guilty, sentence him to 15 years Florida State Prison, and that'll run consecutive to count 1, for a total of 24 years Florida State Prison.
Notice the absolute shock on this kid's face. What is he thinking right now? Look at those eyes. He has got to be flipping out. Crying ain't going to get him anywhere in prison. He needs to toughen up and quick.
Major news in the sentencing for Cameron Heron. On Tuesday, a judge ruled he will not receive a sentence reduction after receiving a sentence of 24 years in prison for the 2018 fatal crash on Bayshore Boulevard. You might remember, of course, Cameron Heron here on the right side of your screen. He was racing down Tampa's Bayshore Boulevard, known for its heavy pedestrian and bicyclist traffic, when he struck and killed 24-year-old mother Jessica Robinalt and her 21-month-old daughter, Lilia, who was being pushed in a stroller that day. His speed was 102 miles per hour, according to police, before he hit the brakes ahead of the fatal crash. There have been supporters and critics of this sentence, the latter arguing that the 24-year prison sentence is just too harsh for a teen who made a terrible mistake. Those who have been echoing those sentiments include ousted state attorney Andrew Warren, who called the initial sentence of 24 years in prison excessively harsh. We have reached out to Andrew Warren for comment.
You guys sometimes ask me, RJ, what do you mean the boys are waiting or whatever? Here's the deal. When you are a juvenile facing the criminal justice system, first of all, two things should happen. If you're under the age of 21, you can be considered to be a youthful offender, which means the court recognizes that you have made a serious mistake, but they believe they can salvage the rest of your life. So they put you in a boys' home, or they put you in a juvenile detention or sheriff's farm or something like that. They drill down intensively on you. But you know what? Those places are hellholes. And the juvenile justice system is in a shambles. Very rarely do judges in Florida allow juveniles to be charged with juveniles because they want to lock everybody up. I get it. He made a mistake. He pressed down the accelerator, didn't think of what possible consequences could happen. And that's all because the juvenile brain is underdeveloped. Judgment is really not set in stone in the brain until the mid-20s, right? So we know the brain is still developing. So is this a tragic mistake, or is this something that the kid intended to do? Did Cameron Heron intend to hit a wife and daughter? Of course not. There's no intent. It was an accident. It was a stupid, boneheaded thing. 24 years, you might as well say goodbye to that kid because he's going to get out in 2045. This is a 21-year-old kid, all right? And we're talking about 45 years old he will get out. He'll know nothing but jail and prison. He'll have super honed criminal thinking because you have to develop that in there just to survive. I feel bad for both of them. I feel bad for the husband who lost his daughter and wife, and I feel horrible for the kid too because he just made a stupid mistake. And I wonder, is this politics on the part of the judge? I don't know. But unfortunately, just days ago, his appeal was denied and it looks like he will be doing 24 years. I just wanted to share this with you guys. It's frustrating. It hurts my heart because I've been there as a kid making mistakes, breaking the law. I've been through hell. I know exactly what awaits this kid, and I don't see much hope for him or anyone like him coming out rehabilitated. There is no rehabilitation, especially in the state of Florida Department of Corrections. It's all about keeping that thumb on the throat, making sure these kids are tortured until they're released. And that drives people to do stupid things. For instance, like the judges who've been killed recently, the prosecutors who've been attacked. You can't just start stepping down on people constantly and not expect something to happen. And that's terrible. It's a terrible thing. I get it, guys. I know it's horrible. But I really want to know you're in a free society. You can judge society by how it treats its prisoner. And in Florida, whether you be 15 or 60, you are treated like a piece of shit. And after years of feeling like that, you certainly prove them true. It's sad. Well, have a good weekend, you guys, and hopefully Monday we'll have something a little more cheerful for you. And of course, I want to thank you for stopping by Crazy News Reacts once again with me, RJ Smith. Have a good weekend.